Week 2 of the NFL is on deck, and we have a loaded slate for you on CBS, including the second ever meeting between the former #1 overall picks and Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. Both of those teams off to a 1-0 start. The Jags looking to go 2-0 for the first time since 2018. And the Bengals, we know their MO has been starting off slow, so they're really trying to change that around. They did get a win in Cleveland, even though the offense didn't really look like we were expecting it to. Joe Burrow has had some time to kind of digest, reflect, and watch that film from the season opener in Cleveland, and here were his takeaways.
Yeah, I thought the first half was really good. You know, we didn't we scored on 2 or 3 drives. In the one drive, we had a chance to convert a third down, and Miles made a great play. In the second half, we just didn't make enough plays. You know, we had good stuff called, and against those guys, you're going to get one-on-one opportunities, both up front and on the perimeter, and we didn't take advantage of any of those opportunities in the second half. And if you want to be a great offense in the NFL, you have to win your one-on-one battles, and in the second half, we didn't.
Ain't that the truth, right? We saw that Logan Ryan, he's going to be on the call for the Jags-Bengals game. Logan, great to be with you here. We're going to preview this. Let's rewind and continue to talk about week 1, because the Bengals win, it was not a pretty win. And weirdly enough, it was like the defense that looked better than the offense. So what did you learn about the Bengals defense, which we've had question marks for a very long time back in the offseason? What did you learn about the defense here moving forward for the rest of the season?
Well, the slow starting Bengals win week 1, led by their defense. I mean, nobody really had that on their calling card. So how do you take that as a Bengals fan, right? Our defense won us a game, and I think you got to take that as a positive. The debut of Al Golden as your defensive coordinator, coming from Notre Dame, coming from the college ranks, but is a well-respected coach. They got the ball. That guy, Jordan Battle, played really well. Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, B.J. Hill, the defensive line, made some plays down the stretch. Logan Wilson, the captain of the defense, did his thing. So look, it wasn't a pretty game at all, but the defense won you a game. And I think you have to assume that the Bengals offense will bounce back, knowing who they have on that side. And the fact that the defense played well in a new scheme, new system, new defensive coordinator, Trey Hendrickson holding out, Shamar Stewart holding out, for them to come out and outplay the offense, I think for a Bengals fan, although surprising, I think you'll take that, some good defense to start the season.
Yeah, because that's where the question marks have been for the Bengals in the past, right? It's never been about the offense. It's always been about the defense. You mentioned we got to expect the offense to bounce back, right? When you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback, you have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you think that's certainly going to be the case. But logistically, how do they do that, Logan?
Well, you got to throw that one in the trash, and you got to credit the Browns, because Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward got after you. And you'll see them later. The Jaguars, different defense, different scheme. Look, the Bengals had 7 yards total in the second half. 7. 143 total. Not Jamar Chase. Total as a team in the game. I mean, it was historically bad. One of the worst halves, one of the worst games in Joe Burrow's career, Jamar Chase's career, T. Higgins' career. So you just got to give the Browns credit. I mean, the Browns defense showed up, and we know that the Bengals played their starters in the preseason. We know they wanted to start fast, and now the offense got to start fast. And I think it's a different opponent. The Jags defense is not the Browns defense, and I trust Joe Burrow. He has a Brady-esque reputation among players in the league that he's a cool Joe Burrow, even keel, and he can bounce back after poor performances. I think he's earned that right in this league by how good he's been, how young he's in the league, how good he is already, of the poise and the trust of not only the team, but around the league. So I truly expect some fireworks, and I'm happy that I get to be on the call for Joe Burrow coming off a bad game, because knowing his resume, he should bounce back big.
Yeah, he doesn't get that nickname Joe Cool, to your point, for nothing. And of course, that brings us to your impact player to watch, who is Joe Burrow, Logan.
Yeah, we talked about it, 7 yards in the second half. And how does that happen? And it came from third down offense. They did not convert any third downs. And he said they got one-on-ones, and long story short, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward won, okay? Well, the Bengals have some good rushers, and they have some decent corners. They don't have Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. They have some more favorable matchups, and I trust Joe Burrow in his career playing against Joe Burrow, how difficult he is to play and count against, that he will respond big time. And that's just what he needs to do. That's what this team needs of him, and he's built to do that. He has his pass catchers back. T. Higgins got paid. They have a good running back in Chase Brown, a plethora of tight ends in Noah Fant and Gesicki, and I think Jamar Chase got to step up big time as well, and I expect them to.
Let's go to the Jaguars side of things, because there was only one first-year head coach that got a win in week 1, and that was none other than Liam Cohen. So how can he kind of build upon that really strong NFL debut as a head coach and keep that moving forward here, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals?
The Jags look good, man. I've watched the films. The Jags did look very good, very balanced. I'm talking about look at all their yards. A lot of yards there. Balance on offense. Trevor Lawrence played within the system. Etienne and the running backs rushed for 200 yards. I mean, they traded Bigsby away. That's how much youth they have at running back. They feel confident there. Defensively, they had 3 turnovers. Okay, that's a good game defensively. They had 9 total last year, Jacqueline, 9 total. They got 33% of their turnovers in one game from what they had last year. So the defense showed up, the offense showed up. They were dominant. But guess what? The Bengals aren't the Panthers. You got a tougher test on both sides of the ball. You got your corners got to cover some better receivers, and I believe that the Bengals defense is better, obviously, how they're playing than the Panthers defense. So they have a tougher test. Was that real, or was that just a layup in week 1? Regardless, for the Jags fans, your team showed up really well with a lot of balance. You should be impressed with what you're seeing with Liam Cohen.
Yeah, on behalf of Jags fans everywhere, we do feel good. However, it is the Panthers. We have to remember that. Another big headline that's coming down is about Travis Hunter, right? Because he did play on both sides of the ball, mostly on offense in his NFL debut, only 6 snaps on defense. And we're hearing that he's going to get some more snaps on defense for this go-around, which has us thinking about maybe a potential Travis Hunter-Jamar Chase matchup. Logan, as somebody who has covered Jamar Chase, do you think that's the best way to use him? Would you rather utilize him more on defense? Would you maybe put him on T. Higgins instead? Where are you at on how they should utilize Travis Hunter for this game?
I do. I really think that he should play primarily defense, not only this game, but this season. Just being a corner in the league, I think it's easier to play right away. And then you get sprinkled in on offense, a la Charles Woodson, a la Deion Sanders, a la the great talented players. But Travis Hunter can do it a little bit more offense than those guys have. How he was using his debut did not make sense. He did not make an impact on offense. He had 6 receptions, but only 30 yards. They were schemed receptions, a lot of slants, a lot of bubbles. He was really the 3rd, 4th option on offense. And then defensively, he only played 6 snaps on defense and did not do a lot there. Now, I'm covering this game. I'm reading every article I can. I'm watching the tape. And our own Pete Prisco is breaking news to me, my source. He's telling me that Travis Hunter is going to start on defense this game. He's telling me that Travis Hunter is going to start at perimeter corner. He played barely any defense last week. So if that is the case, that is because of the firepower that the Bengals have with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and we will get that matchup of Travis Hunter versus Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. A lot of elite talent on the perimeter. Imagine being a rookie who plays both sides. Your first game, you play pretty much all offense. Now your next game, you got to make your first defensive start. Oh, yeah, against Jamar Chase. That is tough sledding, and I'm really excited to see. This is something that is playing out. Pete Prisco's breaking news to me. No one truly knows. So when you tune in and I tune in and I'm calling the game, we will see where Travis Hunter lines up. But we're thinking, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be a lot of defense. And that is going to be a fun matchup because guess what? The Jags need it because the Bengals got some receivers, and those receivers were shut down last week. And I think Uno is going to have a little chip on his shoulder, Jamar Chase that is, and going to want that matchup with Travis Hunter.
All right. And hey, Pete Prisco, the mayor of Jax, I'm trying to get a job in his office there, but TBD. Your Jags impact player to watch, we already kind of mentioned it. Etienne looked good in week 1. He had kind of a down year by his standards last season, but that is exactly where we're going for your Jags impact player to watch, Logan.
Etienne's the key to this. I said 143 yards. I mean, he was explosive. He had a 70-yarder, and he even said if his legs were under him, he would have went for 90 and scored. He was mad he didn't score on the biggest run of the day. That's how good the Jags are blocking. And they need to have Trevor Lawrence take care of the ball and play with balance. And that balance is going to come from ETN and his rushing game. Another big story, they just traded Tank Bigsby to the Eagles, right? So Tank Bigsby had a good year last year when ETN was hurt, but ETN is back healthy. They have 2 young backs that they believe in. They drafted 2 running backs. You're not going to have 4 running backs on your roster in the NFL. One of them's got to go. They moved Bigsby based on the youth in the room, but how good that ETN looked. So he is a huge key to keep this Bengals offense off the field, similar how the Browns did. You got to run the ball. You got to convert first downs to keep Joe Burrow on the bench to give your offense a chance to match what the Bengals firepower has on offense.
It's ETN and Bashal Tootin time. Logan, we certainly appreciate it on the call for the Jags-Bengals on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We will be watching with our popcorn ready. It's going to be a good one. And before kick, make sure you check out the NFL Today Plus with the crew, Amanda Guerra, Kyle Long, Matt Ryan, and AP. Tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can stream it on Paramount Plus or over on CBS Sports HQ.